These tweaks I'm going to share with you will have you get more new patients calling in or booking automatically if you have that ability, whether it's overnight, on the weekends, during the day, freeing up time for your staff, and you being able to see more people. So be able to take notes. Next is, I want you to write down in your notes, how many new patients on average are you getting per month right now? People who schedule. Doesn't mean they start, doesn't mean they even show up, but people who schedule with you, how many new patients? And I want you to write below that, you don't have to share this with anyone, what is your average collections monthly? Because the number of new patients you're getting is one factor related to what your collections are. It's not the only factor. It's not even the most important. The most important is how many of those new patients are actually starting care, following your recommendations, paying for care if insurance doesn't, or if you don't accept their insurance. That's, if you're not familiar with me, that's what I teach chiropractors. I have a platform called Patient Mastery, showing chiropractors how to deliver the exceptional new patient experience, get paid what you're worth for helping people get their lives back, be seen as the go-to chiropractor with less practice hours and a pathway to financial freedom, to knock out any debts and have a secure retirement that you have no doubt is going to happen. The last masterclass I gave for the TCA was on the first 3 strategies I teach every doc I work with that isn't taught in the profession. If you go to patientmastery.com, you can see a recording of a similar presentation of those 3 strategies. So patientmastery.com, there's a free masterclass. One of the strategies is headspace, and it's all on your deserving belief, whether or not you believe you deserve having the practice you want. It's one of the biggest sabotages for chiropractors, because how we were taught in school, our mentors, our profession, feeling like the redheaded stepchild of medicine, how you were brought up, what your parents thought about your career choice, all of those have a profound impact on the practice you're creating. I wrote a book on this 3 years ago. At patientmastery.com, I give you the ability to download a free gifted copy, PDF copy of my book called You Deserve It, showing you how to build and create and strengthen your deserving belief for having the practice you want. So don't miss out on those goodies. And last offer, if you're on the site, if you're on this masterclass and you would like me to give a live on this presentation feedback on your website, I'm going to show you a website with all 6, have them perfectly so you can see them. But if you'd like me to review yours, throw your URL in the chat box and I will pick one of these to review. And it's going to be really valuable because you'll get specific feedback for your website. Doesn't cost a thing to make these changes, and you will immediately, once you make the changes, start seeing the number of calls and bookings go up for new patients. That being said, you wrote down the number of new patients and your collections. Next to it, I want you to write down, what's the number of new patients you want to be seen per month? Like maybe you're averaging 16 a month now and you'd like it to be 25, or maybe you're at 8 and you want it to be 15, or maybe you're at 20 and you want it to be 30. Completely up to you. But what's that number? And then below it, what's the collections number you want to be at per month? What is important to you after you pay your overhead, after you pay taxes, that you're taking home to have the lifestyle for your family, to be able to knock out debts, save for the future, and feel great about what you're getting paid, what you're collecting, for making a dramatic difference in countless people's lives who need your help, and keeping them from a lifetime of being on chronic medication, or maybe a vastly invasive surgery that has a big percentage of side effects. Really understand that whether it's insurance, whether it's cash, whether it's a mixture, that you absolutely deserve to get paid very well when you're helping people get back to their life, make their life better, make it so there's less likely their body breaks down, and gives them things that they love. Being able to play with their children, being able to go out and do what they love on the weekends, their hobbies, even if it's just watching football or basketball on the couch and not being in pain, how valuable that is to people. And when you anchor to that's what you're helping people doing without any side effects and empowering their body to heal itself, and their understanding that that's how our bodies work and that's how life works, the incredible value you are passing on. Today, what we're going to go over is one of the very first steps of what's on your website, making or breaking. Do patients who need your care choose you to make an appointment, or did they say, this seems too confusing, I'm not exactly clear how to do it, I don't know if this doctor is for me, and then going to your competitor in the neighborhood, or not even going to chiropractic and thinking, maybe I should do PT or acupuncture or the orthopedist. And by the way, any questions you have, or even just like, hey, I like what you're saying, fist pump, throw it in the chat and I will respond to it. So Andrew writes, I remember my car accident from years ago and how chiropractic care completely eliminated the neck and back pain from whiplash. Yeah, so Andrew, imagine if you were still suffering with that neck and back pain today. Think about this, and this is for everyone, because I got into chiropractic from the philosophy, not from a success story. It was hard for me to relate to patients. Of course, I was happy for them getting better, but it was hard for me to relate to them getting out of pain or having physical recoveries because I didn't have one myself. But having the mental epiphany, that's what lights me up. And that's why I help chiropractors all over the world to help shift the perception of this field, of our profession, to get more respect, more value, and more investment, because people value chiropractic and chiropractors far more for its benefits than understanding how it works or why it works. They don't need to. But so Andrew and anyone else, think about if you were still experiencing that today, how many years, how much your life would be different. And now think about how much you paid or how much a typical patient will pay you to get this resolved, and how much smaller that is than the value they're getting for the rest of their life of not having constant migraines, neck pain, back pain, visceral issues, whatever it may be. And are you charging for your time or your expertise or a certain number of visits when really what you should be charging for, and there's a way to do this compliantly, is for the difference you're making in their life? And when you communicate that effectively, people will be happy and enthusiastic to pay you for what they expect and hope to happen. Don't have to guarantee, that's not possible, it's not realistic, but people will happily pay out of pocket, still refer, even if they thought insurance was going to cover everything, for what they want, rather than what the stereotypical chiro practice management jargon chiropractor wants, which is, subluxation free, straight spine, no nerve interference, scan reduces. No one wants to pay for that. They want to get back to their life. That's what I teach chiropractors how to do, how to give a professional, elegant, awesome new patient experience, so you get paid what you deserve and what you're worth for getting people their lives back. If you're on board for that, and you're ready to start seeing the 6 must-have website changes for DCs to get more bookings, type in ready in the chat, because I gotta have a drink of water. Awesome, Andrew. And by the way, for those of you on, right now, no one's put in a URL. So if no one puts it in, I can't give one. Jessica's ready. Throw in a URL if you'd like feedback on your website. Again, I'm not going to make you feel bad. I'm just going to give you, hey, make these changes. You're going to start getting more new patients. And you'll get a lot more out of it when it's on your website rather than another chiro's website, which I feature. Awesome. Luis, ready. Okay. And yeah, don't forget, free gifts, patientmastery.com. Either download my book or get the first 3 strategies I teach every chiropractor to double collections and become the go-to chiropractor. Awesome, Jessica. Multisporthealthcenter.com. I will pick yours. All right, let's dive in. Hopefully you should be able to see my screen. Awesome, Noel's ready. And magic, you see my screen. If you can't, type in the chat box. First thing, we're in the middle of a chiropractor's website right now. So this is one of my top, just a phenomenal chiropractor, top client, Winnie Wong. Started using Patient Mastery, that's my platform, when she was an associate in Australia. She's from China, went to chiropractic school in Australia, so English is her second language. She was an associate or locum in a practice where the owner inserted her into a practice that was seeing 80 visits a week, and she was the only chiropractor in it, and he was hoping she could increase it, and she wasn't, because she was right out of school. English was her second language. She wasn't confident. She is young looking, she's small, she's female. She had a lot of things working against her because the majority of her clients or patients in that office, it was rural Australia, a lot of male farmers, and they just didn't respect her. So they'd come in with legitimate issues or aches and pains, and they'd disappear within 2-3 visits, even though she was recommending that they needed more. So her pay was limited. She wasn't growing the practice. She was feeling down and out. You guys all know what that's like in chiropractic when patients aren't listening to you, following your recommendations, respecting or paying. So she found out that I teach chiropractors how to become the go-to DC and give the proven process to start up new patients, as well as have them continue on. And she started learning the material. So I have a 6-question consult, like the perfect 6 questions to ask patients, a 5-step recommendations, expert paperwork that has you be the leader, not the salesperson. And she started using that, and she tripled the volume of that practice within a few months. Like, so big, the CAs didn't think they had the space for everyone. The lead doc was so impressed, he took her out of that practice and put her into a different practice that was stuck at the same 80 visits a week. She did the same thing in that practice. She tripled that volume. At that point, she realized, you know what? I think I could do this on my own. I don't need to work for someone. I have enough faith that it's going to work out. And we started working closely together, and we worked on 3 specific things. 1, her deserving belief for the practice she wants to create. 2, drilling down on her fees, because now she's on her own. She's charging what she wants rather than what the boss wanted. And 3, getting even another level of delivering the incredible, exceptional new patient experience. And she was like any other doc, or like most docs starting out. She didn't know how she was going to get new patients. She's not a marketing machine. She doesn't, love going out and doing screenings or talks or all these things that when you start from scratch are part of the process. But within a year and a half, starting from scratch, all cash, even though there's an insurance model in Australia, she just gave patients receipts. She created a over 100,000 a month cash collections practice in a year and a half by 2 years, 2 associates, and has the ability to travel, make money while she's traveling. And she teaches in Patient Mastery every single week. She has a call teaching how to scale and how to create the practice of your dreams, because she's done it. She's phenomenal. And this is her website. I'm going to show you. She gets tons of new patients every month with very little money spent on marketing or advertising. Half of her new patients are referrals, and she's pretty much got a wait list of new patients, and that's why she needs 2 associates. So this is one of her associates, Dr. Chris, and this is her other associate, Dr. Leah. Now, let's get into, I'm going to show each of the 6 must-have DC website changes on Winnie's website. And the first one, so write this down. The first one is you've got to have an up-to-date picture of yourself on the homepage. Now, by the way, these 6 I'm going to share with you. You may already have 4 of them on your website, but if you don't have all of them, you're losing patients. So you may already have an up-to-date picture of yourself on the homepage. Awesome. I guarantee some of the others you won't have. So stick with it in case it's starting off too easy. But here's some where areas chiros go wrong. You have a picture of yourself, but you hide it under an about drop down, and you make people go find it. People going to a chiropractor know the chiropractor is going to touch them, going to have their hands all over them. And most patients are females, and most chiropractors are males. And they want to just know, what does this person look like? They just want to feel safe. Don't make them search for it. Have your picture on your homepage. And if it's clinical. So these are clinical pictures. These are obviously in the office. You should be wearing what you wear in the practice. So don't have a lab coat on in your picture and then be in a polo in practice. Don't have a polo on in your picture and be in a lab coat and a tie in practice. Match it, be congruent. If you do a family photo, that's absolutely fine. That's different. I don't expect you to be in a lab coat out in the field with your wife or husband and children. Any questions on this? And you don't need professional photography. You don't need to hire a $300 photographer to take these. With the quality of cameras now, it's good enough. You can, have a smiling, nice picture of you in a clinical setting, and you can use that. You do not need to hire a professional photographer. So any questions on this first one, or anyone brave enough to admit they don't have their picture up to date in their clinical attire or a good family picture on their homepage? Because I guarantee, even though there's only 8 of us on here, not everyone has that one. Okay, well, let's see. Yep, Jessica, you don't. All right, so first thing, take those pictures before the end of the week and start getting them on. Our website is super 90s and it's getting worked on. Okay, well, make sure each of these 6 you pass over to who's working on it, and they include these, which means you don't take a picture and your website people put it in about and then meet the doctors, which you're just making it tougher for people to see, and most people will never click on any of these links. Okay, that's number 1. Number 2, typically at the bottom of every chiro website, the designer puts a Google map so people are really clear where you are. Hopefully you have that. But what I notice a lot of designers don't do, they don't integrate the Google reviews. So it'll have your Google listing here, but it won't show the reviews. It's just a change in the code they use. It's a 10-second swap out tweak. And what do these reviews reveal to people? Credibility. If you have printed text on your website of what John L said about your practice and what Terry K said about, how much better she feels, there's no credibility in today's world of transparency. This is credibility. 99 people of the public gave her pretty much a 5-star review. So you got to have it at the bottom, have your map, have it the correct code that shows your reviews. And if you don't have over 30 reviews, that should be your immediate goal for you and your CA and your team. Create a game, a bonus game. When you get above 30, they get a bonus. Next, get to 6 figures. Winnie is 99. She's almost there, but she also has more new patients than she knows what to do with. So it's not as much of a impulse and an urge, and she's already number 1 in her area. I want you to first get above 30. Second, become the number 1 reviewed Google chiropractor. And third, get above 100. Now that may take time if you have 19 or 50, but focus, how much do you need to grow to be the number 1 or over 100? Throw in the chat box. If you know you're number 1 in your community, put number 1. If you've never looked at what your other chiropractors in your town, who has what, put a question mark and go do that. And if you know at the bottom of your website, you have this, but you don't have the reviews, put no reviews. All right, no, yeah, you got to go check that. Google your town chiropractor. You'll see where you are, you'll see the others, and it'll give you a goal and a benchmark for your team to get above. Really important. Okay, so that's number 2. Third one. Nope. Where should we go? Where should we go? Okay, we're going to go up to who knows what it means when you say above or below the fold in chiropractic. Who knows what that means? Above or below the fold. All right, we have a question first. How do you address negative reviews, 4 stars or less? Andrew, great question. That's a totally different topic because that takes some skill. So I teach expert communication with patients, which can apply to if someone has a complaint online, how to respond. We're not going to get into it now. I'd start with watching the masterclass at patientmastery.com, but you need to respond, but you need to do it the right way. So people look at you and say, oh, that person, the doctor, seems a lot more professional than the person who may be freaking out in a negative review and like being angry. And then they'll see, oh, look at that response. This doctor still sounds good. There's always going to be issues or complaints. Above the fold, hero section, what they see before they do any scrolling. Okay, hero section, I don't know what term that comes from, but above the fold means on your mobile device or on your laptop, when you go to a website, what's the first thing you see before scrolling down? So this line right here, this is Winnie's homepage. This is above the fold. This is below the fold. Now, what we're going to talk about, number 3, is below the fold. Typical chiro website companies below the fold will have like a bunch of text right here about the practice of the doctor, and it's like 3 paragraphs about why you became a chiropractor, or you've got, whole person approach methodology, or you're talking about the services you deliver, whether it's weight loss or decompression or laser or your technique. The number one thing people want to know when they go to your website, when they're suffering with a condition and they need help, is, does this chiropractor, does this doctor, does this practice help my condition? It may be super obvious to you as a chiropractor, you help all these different conditions, but to the patient, you have no idea what their background is. You have no idea. A lot of people have completely wrong misconceptions about chiropractic. So below the fold, the first thing you should show to the patient is, what are the most common conditions you treat, help with, or see great results with? You choose the verbiage. Check with your state, association in terms of what you may or may not be allowed to say. So for instance, in Australia, you can't make any claims about results or treatment. So Winnie writes, here's who we help. You choose what verbiage is allowed for you and what resonates with you. But essentially, it's not how you help them. It's not the modalities or the services or the technique. No one cares that you do SOT or diversified or even more specific ones. What they want is, does this doctor see results with migraines, neck pain, disc issues, sciatica? So right here, Winnie chooses to have pictures with the conditions. You don't have to. This is another level of, work for your designer, but she's got 9. To start, to keep it really simple for your web designer, it'll cost $3 in their time. Just have 2 columns of 6 conditions each. What are the top 12 conditions that patients come into you for, and just list them. You don't have to have pictures. They don't have to link to another page. You don't have to describe how you help them. You don't have to prove anything. Just list them. And when someone sees that, and I'd put it in bigger text than small, when someone sees that, that's all they need to see to say, oh, great, they help this condition. No matter how obvious it is to you. Back pain, neck pain, and you're a chiropractor. Yeah, but people want to see it. So tell me, throw in the chat box, because this is where oftentimes people put chiropractors in their website company put services. And, I'm a chiropractor and I don't even recognize half the services. They're talking about crazy laser and DRX names and like enzyme protocols and, weird chiropractic techniques. I don't even know what they are. You think the general public does? You think they care? No, they could only hear and see what is in their mind, which is, I've got an issue, I've got a condition, I'm not living my best life, I'm in pain, can this doctor help me? So I'm curious, do you have the services up here or on your website above or instead of the conditions you help with. Throw in the chat box. If you have services, put services. If you have conditions, put conditions. You need to change it to conditions ASAP. That was number 3. So number 1, we've got the picture and the specifics about it. Number 2, we've got the Google map. Make sure the reviews are integrated in the code. And number 3, immediately below the fold, not all the way at the bottom, not in another page, immediately below the fold, you have the conditions you see the best results with. That is so obvious for patients to say, that's me, that's me, that's me. And you don't need to put the services you do anywhere. People won't know what they are, they don't care, and it gets back into sabotaging chiropractic dogma of having to, or thinking patients have to agree with, understand, or accept chiropractic in order to pay you and follow your recommendations. And guess what, guys? Practice gets so much easier, so much more profitable when you let go of that false thought and realize that patients don't have to agree with, don't have to understand, and don't have to accept what chiropractic is or your services in order to pay you happily, follow your recommendations, refer others, and sing your praises online. And that's a big aspect of patient mastery, of saving you so much time and explanation, making practice so much more fun, so much easier, and getting paid a lot better when you're not overwhelming patients or confusing them. Awesome. So that's 3. 4th one, super, super simple, super easy, 10-second tweak. Up here, very top, we're going to go up. So this is the home page. So this is above the fold. This is the fold. This is below the fold. Everyone's got this banner at the top. Most chiropractors do not have their address, physical address, and their phone number at the top. They have one, and then they have a bunch of things over here. What are the things over here that a lot of chiropractors have that Winnie doesn't? What are those things? Throw them in the chat. What are those things? There's usually 3 of them over here. What are those things that chiropractors think are cool and fancy? Yeah, Nick. Oh, Nick, you wrote it only to host some panelists. Nick writes social. Okay, so let's, you could probably gauge for me, like I'm really just straight to the point, honest, and don't hold back, and you haven't seen anything yet. For some reason, unlike every other medical doctor or healthcare provider in the world, chiropractors think, you know, we're different and we're unique in terms of, you know, why patients should come to us. And we think, oh, if the patient sees, or a new patient sees we're on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, like that shows, you know, we're relevant and we're with it. No. I don't know about you, but if I was looking for a new dentist or I had to see a medical doctor and I saw social media icons, I'd more likely not trust them and go on to the next. Like, wow, this doc's got way too much time. What's their focus? So I want you to be very, very careful of understanding what you think or what your web designer thinks is not how the general public thinks. Second, that's minuscule compared to the second they click on your Twitter, your Facebook, your YouTube, I can guarantee you are not within the 1 of 1,000 chiropractors who actually have an awesome social media that gets people to call you. You may have generic, you know, things that a company posts every day or your CA posts every day, and like, you know, quotes and announcements and all this stuff, or maybe you put up some YouTube videos, but that's not grabbing people. That's not causing them to call you. What's happening is they click on it, they see this stuff, and then they see notifications, then they see messages, and then they see ads catered directly to them. And they've gone down the social media rabbit hole, and you've lost them, and they're sucked into a social message, an ad, a video, something else that's not yours, because you're a chiropractor, not a social media person. And there's maybe 1 in 1,000 chiropractors that have social media followings that actually are stronger than their website. No point in trying to chase that rabbit. Your website should be the end all be all of, people don't need to see anything else to need to call or book immediately. So if you have these, I'm not saying get off social media and drop all of your accounts, but get them off your website ASAP, because you are losing credibility and you are losing eyeballs because they're going down social media rabbit holes instead of staying on your website. Nick, what happens if you have multiple locations? Oh, more than 5. Yeah, so that's obviously a unique case. No, don't have all 5 across. Maybe you can have them like on top of each other here. Otherwise, I would allude to 5 locations, let's just say 5 locations in San Antonio, and then under who we help, as soon as possible, put the locations. It could be a map for each. But good question, and great job creating 5 locations, assuming that's what you wanted to create. All right, so that's number 4. Super simple. Get rid of the social and make sure your phone number and address is right there. Remember, people now more than ever want to save time. They want to know where you are. They want to know, like, oh, if I'm going to go to this person, are they by the Walmart? Are they by the high school? Are they by the post office? Like, is that on my commute? Is that going to seem easy, not easy? Like, people want to know. And guess what? Most people are never even going to scroll all the way down here. For the people who do, you want to have this, but most people are never going to go down. You're going to lose or gain people here and here. And most people who book will never need anything else. And those who don't, it's oftentimes because they're getting lost, or this isn't good enough, these top 2 pages. All right, so that was number 4. Number 5. Number 5 and 6 are the 2 most important. And by the way, I'm giving you these 6 things. That doesn't mean there can't be anything else on your website. I'm not going to talk about these tabs besides get rid of services and make sure you have conditions. It doesn't mean you can't have these tags. I'm not talking about, she has this section. You can have it if you want. It really makes no difference. You need to have this. I'm not talking about quotes. You can have them. Really doesn't make a difference. Frequently asked questions. You can have them. Yeah, people want to know your hours, but those aren't 5 or 6. What I'm getting at is if I don't mention it, it doesn't mean you can't have it. It's just these 6 factors most chiropractors don't have, and they really make a difference. And 5 and 6 are the 2 biggest ones. So right here, you've got a headline, a major headline, and let's say a sub-headline describing it. Many chiropractic websites, it's like a scrolling image and headline, so they're constantly changing, and that's not good. And the headline doesn't make the person want to call you and book with you because it's something that they don't care about. It's like, wellness awaits you. And there's the woman running through the field with the scarf, blowing in the wind. And you have people every single week on your website with serious conditions that they will pay thousands of dollars to get resolved. And when they see that, you just lost helping someone who needs it and making another 10 to 20,000 a month in collections because you're turning off a handful of people every single week and every month who need your care and are willing to pay for it, but you're promoting something that they can't understand. That's 3 steps ahead of them. Now, I am all for leading people towards the wellness paradigm and having them come in proactively and asymptomatically. Absolutely. But that's not your new patient. That's not more than 2% of your new patients, if that. So you've got to meet the people who need your care the most and are willing to pay for it. And you've got to meet them where they are, which is these conditions. Now, what you say to them right here can't confuse them or lead them to think, I don't know if this is for me. Maybe this is more, kind of elective, healthy care for a family that all feels good. So really, really important. Now, wellness awaits you is just one example. Sometimes it's something specific about the spine, like, I don't even know, but if it's specifically about the spine, guess what? Most people with migraines, sciatica, disc issues, like they don't even realize that's their spine that needs to be taken care of. You've gone 2 steps too deep. All they need to know is, can you help them? Is it trustworthy? And is there risk aversion? So look what we teach chiropractors to do. Look at the headline. Book online today for your complimentary consult. You're giving away a complimentary conversation with a new patient. It doesn't mean there's a free exam. It doesn't mean there's a free adjustment, anything like that. But someone has the ability to come in and speak to the doctor without paying anything. So even if you're cash only, they're not even paying their copay to speak to you. Risk averse. And look what she writes to make it even more trustworthy, honest, powerful. We'll start with a complimentary consultation. Now, she makes it obvious because in Australia, oftentimes a consult is thought of as treatment, whereas in the US it doesn't. But so you're making it really clear. Clinical history, conversation with the doctor, with the chiropractor, so they don't think it's just going to be with like an office manager, to see if we can help. If not, we'll let you know who can. Bam. Trustworthy and unneediness. And most chiropractors reek of neediness because of practice management and your past coach. You need this much volume, you need this PVA, you need this many new patients, and patients can feel that. So swapping that makes a huge difference to the attraction, as long as you're being honest. As long as there are certain cases that'll come into you that if they need to be referred, you would. So there's no bait and switch here, or anything weird or dishonest. But on the homepage, now you may not have online booking, so you obviously wouldn't write that. You'd say, call today to schedule your complimentary consult. And then if you have to call, put the phone number big right here. Don't just leave it up here. That's very small. Winnie prefers online booking because she understands that the majority of new patient scheduling are not scheduling during office hours, don't want to leave a message, don't want to leave an email or put their name in a form. And even if they can call during office hours, they might be at work and they don't want people to hear them saying, talking about, I have sciatica. Like they don't, this is the digital age. People just want to do something quickly online. Are you giving them that ability? I see another question come in. What is included in the complimentary consult? Good question, Nick. A conversation with the doc. So we teach this, like I said, phenomenal 6-question consult. It may take anywhere from 8 to 15 minutes. I suggest you give that away completely complimentary. From there, you'll suggest if you want to go forward with the exam. The person has the ability to say, no, I'm good, I'm going to leave, or yes, I want to go forward with the exam. And they were told 3 times ahead of time what the exam cost is if they go forward. So when they call in to schedule a new patient appointment, the CAs have a script, completely elegant, nothing weird, like, is this for you or your entire family, or anything like that, which positions you as the go-to chiropractor and has people wanting to come in, even if you don't accept their insurance. And they were hoping, because this consult is complimentary, so they don't even have to pay their copay. And they're warned and they're told specifically, if you go forward with the exam, it's X amount, your exam price. They're emailed that with instructions on what to expect. And when they check in for their first visit, they're also reminded, you're going to start with a complimentary consult with Dr. Marino. And if he feels he can help you, he'll go forward with, you can go forward with the exam. And if you go forward with the exam, it is X dollars. Simple as that. No bait and switch, nothing weird. People are completely informed, and the doctor doesn't have to go over prices or even, say, like, is that okay with you? Like, the patient knows. Good question. So I want you to make sure on your homepage, is it stupid chiro jargon, wellness, like epiphany stuff, like, oh, what's the ideal? Or are you communicating to the person who needs a doctor, who needs help, and giving them an opportunity to do it super easily, hardly any cost or no complimentary consult, and trustworthy and risk averse? If we can't help you, we'll tell you who can. You probably don't. Very few chiropractors do. Makes all the difference in the world. That's number 5. And number 6 is if you still are only able to schedule patients by your CAs picking up a phone call and doing it manually, you are missing out on most likely at least another half dozen to dozen new patients a month. Because the typical new patients, they're not looking for you while they're busy at work. They're looking for you after work hours, on the weekends, in the middle of the night when they're up because of back pain and vertigo or insomnia. And if they go to your website and they can't book online, no one wants to call a practice when they know it's obviously outside of hours because they know they're going to get an answering machine. I don't know of a call center in chiropractic that works well, that you can trust them to answer patient questions about insurance or like do this well. So I wouldn't do a call center approach. I'd rather you be able to tell people you can text a number and the CAs respond outside of office hours until you get your online booking set up. But you know what CRM you use for scheduling. You know what website you use. You talk to both of those and say, hey, what widget do I need to fit in to integrate this? Because when you have a book online that anyone could do at any moment, and this is only new patients, by the way, you will get half a dozen to a dozen more new patients a month. So let's look how easy this is. Book online now. It can be 11 p.m. at night. No one's going to call. No one wants to call. No one wants to fill out the stupid form that says put your info in and leave us a message. And then, oh, maybe after the rush of the morning, your CA gets to it and by noon, sends them an email. Guess what? That person's already booked with someone else. So if you have the form, submit your info and we'll get back to you. You are losing a dozen new patients a month, even if some of those do end up coming in. But most people, they see that and they go, oh, this isn't 1990. Like, let me go book with someone who can get me in tomorrow. And I know I have an appointment for tomorrow. So look how easy this is. Book online now. And it's going to go slow because this is a webinar. But first, initial consultation, new patient only. Super clear. This isn't for existing patients. Select. Which doctor? Select one. And for you, if you're a one doctor practice, you don't even need that one. We are, where are we today? The 11th? Okay. So tomorrow, Dr. Chris, maybe he's not in. I don't know his schedule. I don't know how it works. But 13th, I see a dot. I'm going to click on it. Okay, 8:30 or 9. Hey, if that doesn't work, Monday. That doesn't work, I'll go back to a previous provider, find another one. But when I want it, boom, put my information in, complete the booking. Didn't cost anything, didn't have to put a credit card in. Now the CAs are without a doubt going to contact this person and do the script over the phone because there's so many important parts of the script. And it just works so magically. So 5 and 6, website upgrades, 5 and 6. This information, and you can tweak this, again, fitting you. If you don't have book online, it's call, put the phone number big, and then critique this as you need critiquing. And being able to book online will completely change how easy it is and how many more new patients you get. And then when you look at those numbers you wrote the number of new patients you get now and your collections, the number of new patients you want to get, the collections that'll produce. No extra marketing, no extra advertising, no extra cost, no extra screenings, no extra talks, no extra team, no extra hours. These are the things that I teach, and this is like 1 out of 700 strategies where you work less, you make more, it's easier, you become the go-to chiropractor, and you get paid what you're worth. That's patient mastery. So I said I'd look at one doc's, Let's see what comes up here. Oh boy, okay. Jessica, yeah, you said it's like very 90s, you're getting it redone. Let's just go through a really quick test drive. Okay, guys, from the top down, what's missing up here? What's missing up here? Someone gets here, immediately I want to know, I wonder where they are. Right now, just above the fold, I don't see it. So that's first thing. Second thing, what's the call to action? Multi-sport health center. So I get it. You probably treat a lot of athletes. I would say that you're most likely, unless Jessica, you don't want to see non-athletes, you may be turning off a lot of great patients who just aren't athletes or aren't in an active sport. So I'd be careful about that. You can absolutely have this as a niche and promote like, oh, you specialize in helping people improve their sport, get back to their sports, all of that. But be careful, you may be turning off a lot of great patients who just think they're not a student athlete or whatever. Okay, corrective therapy. No one knows what that means. That's traditional chiro jargon. No one knows what that means. Performance enhancement, okay. But again, be careful because someone may think they have to be an athlete to come to you and to benefit. And for the active individual to the professional, yeah. And just by the way, like people probably like when I looked at this, there's so much going on. I didn't even read this. Okay, so but again, there's no call to action. There's no, how do I start? How do I make an appointment to get better? I get it. This is who you're for. This is your niche. This is some credibility. I get it. But how do I start? That's the number one reason, not because this looks like it's 1990s. It's because they don't know how to start. I get it. This is down here. Oh, this has got to go. Find us on Facebook. I don't know what this is, but don't give people more info. Give them the ability to get their life back. Yeah, Andrew, looks like an online brochure. She's getting this changed, but you know when I said out of these 6 things, it doesn't mean you can't include other stuff. Well, here's a good update. Like, don't give them more info. Have them book an appointment to get their life back. They can go to Wikipedia for more info. They can go to Google for more info. They're on your site because they need help, professional help, not a guide, like not a resource info guide. So stuff like this, stuff like join our mailing list, our email list, is such a waste of and losing patients. Just stop it. Give them the direct approach to how to get well. Okay, so what else? Do we have a picture of you? We have a picture of an empty office. Never good. I'd rather there at least be like the doctor, you know, with a patient, but not in a weird compromising position, like twisting their neck. So we need a picture of you. And okay, well, Jessica, I don't even see you on here. Maybe you're here, but all these pictures are good. They suffice. All good. But you got to have them on the homepage. Okay, map, no Google reviews. I like this, but I've been on your website for 5 minutes and I just found them now. So these, and there's, you know, these, I don't know. I'd condense this because someone might have a hard time finding theirs, but maybe you have 3 columns or 4 columns of like which ones never come into you. If they never come into you, just get them off the list. Make it simpler for people to find theirs. This is what I'm talking about. No one is reading this. No one cares. No one's reading it. They just want to know, can you help them with these? Make it easy for them. And what, obviously there's no online booking ability. No one cares about clinic news or stuff like that. So Jessica, you are getting a new site overhaul. Take the notes of these 6 and make sure your web designer is putting each one on there. Because I know you're not just adapting this website. Jessica, those are all the pictures. Got it. This has been incredibly helpful. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, what's coming up? What questions? Throw them in the chat. Any more clarification? I'll go back to Winnie's. I like the fact that, you know, this could be better. Her face is cut off. You can't really tell anything. I like the fact that you don't even have to scroll down to see who the chiropractor is. So maybe she like reformatted that, it would be even better. I think she chose some weird and wrong conditions. Like most people probably aren't coming to the chiropractor for ankle pain. The web designer just did it in alphabetical order, it appears. But let's have the most common stuff. Probably within the top 9 conditions, ankle pain isn't in there for Winnie. So I changed that for hers. But just realizing, even though her website isn't perfect, these 6 aspects get her more new patients than she knows what to do with. She's got 2 associates, and she's got one of the best practices in the entire world. And she started from scratch 2 years ago, not accepting insurance, wet behind the ears, just a couple years out of school, English as a second language, looking young, like all the odds stacked against her. But what did she do? She learned the patient mastery proven process for becoming the go-to chiropractor, delivering the exceptional patient experience in less hours a week, 3-day weekends, if that sounds good to you, show you how to do it and increase collections, and a pathway to financial freedom. She will never have to worry about money again for the rest of her life. Now, what I find with most docs, most chiropractors, is there's certain levels we get stuck at. There's way too many chiropractors in our profession stuck under the 20,000 a month collections level, like in the teens or right at the 20. And you know you need to get to 30 to 35 to make a difference for your family, be able to start knocking out student debts and save for the future. So it's a very common level that we help docs get from the 17 to 30. And that's just to begin. The next level is getting stuck below the 40,000 a month mark. So usually you're in the low to mid 30s and you've been stuck there for years. And still, when you think about maybe you have 2 team members, after overhead, after taxes, how much are you knocking out student debt? How much are you saving for the future? So usually the doc in the 30s, they really want to get to the mid 50s and think about another 20,000 a month, another $240,000 a year without extra team, without extra advertising. How much of a difference does that make in setting up your future? The next level, it's very common to be stuck around the 60,000 mark and want to get to the $1 million practice, like 84,000 a year, a month. Helping docs do that. And then there's the docs stuck right below or at the $1 million practice and wanting to expand and feeling like a chicken with their head cut off, they've got too much going on. And so whether it's, I'll share you one example of a doc who was stuck at the 18,000 mark where they went, or actually a doc right outside of Dallas, Dr. Lewis Clark, who has been in practice 30 plus years and came to me after years of practice coaching and having 100,000 a month cash practice. And in the 2 years of COVID, we almost doubled to 180,000 a month cash practice, switching from old school practice management to new school patient mastery approach. What I would give to any one of you, if you're stuck below one of those levels and you want to get above it, like 20,000 at least above it within a couple quarters, not be stuck in the chiro rat race, banging your head against the wall, trying to educate everyone or spend your weekends doing notes, is whether you're watching this live or recording, we give a customized, gifted game plan call with a coach on my team of where are you now, what's not being done, what are the things that you're missing and needs to be done to get to that next level. I'm dropping the link if you'd like to take advantage of that, dcgrowthcall.com. You can click on it, schedule a call. Change Jessica's to this. And this is, there's some phenomenal videos of Dr. Rena. She was stuck at 18,000 a month for 20 years. Single mother with 2 kids in Northern California, that didn't cut it. She's now over 90,000 a month, 3-day weekends, and most importantly, loves being a chiropractor again. So if you're stuck and you know for your family, for your future, you need to really get to another level of collections, That's exactly how we help chiropractors while being the go-to chiropractor. No chiro jargon, BS, fear tactics, bait and switch, all this, sitting outside, chicken dinners, Sundays, holding a spine in the parking lot. None of that. If you're ready for that, we can absolutely help you. Tweaks to your website is less than 1% of what we teach. It's going to make some difference, but it's not going to get you paid. It's going to get more patients in the door. And realize that, man, when you really own the difference you're making in patients' lives, you absolutely deserve to have the life you want. You're helping people get back to their life. You deserve to have an awesome life as a great chiropractor. That's who I love helping. That's why it's such a phenomenal community of hundreds of doctors helping each other.